right. Thank you for having me here. I'm glad to see a really engaged audience. It's a full house all the way until late evening. The topic for me is AI personalization at scale. When we started today, Narayan came up on stage and said he was given a topic, but he wasn't going to follow the brief, right? But as a client, I am going to follow the brief, okay? So AI personalization at scale, very interesting topic. You've heard so much around AI. It's getting sharply and rapidly defined today, and also defining the future at a very rapid pace. So what is AI personalization at scale? Think of a product defined and designed for you, every interaction being about you, and making it super personal. That is what AI personalization at scale means. But if I look at it, AI personalization at scale is not new. AI advancements have been in progress for the last few years. And if you look at the chart right behind me, we started with, you heard the audience say single messaging, for reach and broadcast. Then we went on to cohort advertising. We've gone into rule-based advertising or marketing. Closer now, we are looking at behavioral recommendations. But today, in the last 10, 12 months, what we've seen is predictive personalization. Many of you are very familiar with predictive personalization, yes? Day in and day out, somebody was talking about muddied waters in attention economy. Netflix, right? Personalized recommendation. But again, Netflix did that 15 years ago. They had something called Open Price, which got people to collaborate and bring in unfiltered algorithms to predict user ratings. That was 15 years ago. If you look at Sephora, they've done a great job of bringing programs like Color IQ, just designed for your skin tone. So predictive personalization has been happening, and at the center of it is compute. And as the digital economy grows, computing will make these experiences more personal and more large. I want to move to a few examples of early personalization which has been done right. The first one, a personal favorite of mine, this is way back, a decade ago, called Intel Museum of Me. This one went on to win 6 Cannes Lions because if you notice the title, it's called Museum of Me, right? It's beautifully engineered with an algorithm with Facebook. Technology is at the core of it, our Intel Core i5 processors. But what it does, it individualizes your social experiences, right? Every one of us scrolls, right? This time last year, and you've got this happy memory coming straight back at you. So this actually engineered for you to look at those happy moments in archive over many years, but it paid ode to you, and it was a body of human personal experiences. And coming to privacy, this beautiful ad could be served just for you, just like Spotify Wrapped, or you could make it available to the public at large. I'd love to play this video. Maybe I'll stop midway because all of these are long videos, but I would love to tease your imagination. So if you could play this video. That's the name of the individual. If you could go back and scroll this on YouTube, you'll find many examples of it. It goes on to talk about the best memories, your friends, your photos. It was a bit anonymized, but it gives you a personal journey of wonderful memories, right? The second one that's really close to my heart is one that happened just 2 years ago, 2022. This one also went on to win at Cannes Lion. This was, again, rooted in technology, something we did with Dell, but also the motor neuron disease association. And this is a great example of using AI for good, but again, personalizing experience. The thing about the disease of this is as it progresses, the first thing you lose is your voice. And so over time, you cannot communicate, and the ability to talk to your near and loved ones goes away. Many people can bank their voices, but what happens is when you bank it, it doesn't sound like you. It sounds robotic. So this example is about an association we did with an author, Jill Twice, where she created a book. And if you read 30 minutes of that book, it had all the sounds and syllables, and it came very close to mimicking your voice, making it personal. So as the disease got worse, it could still give you the ability to communicate. It's a beautiful piece. Again, I'll pay just a little bit of it, and you can go off and look at this. I Will Always Be Me. So may I have you play the video, please?
They kept saying, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I think it's MND.
Almost everybody living with MND will lose their voice.
When I first had the diagnosis, everybody said, bank your voice, bank your voice.
Voice banking allows people with MND to create a digital copy of their own voice. So even after they lose the ability to speak, they can still sound like themselves. But only 12% have gone through with it.
You had to record 1,600 phrases. The average time it took was 3 months.
It was a lot of hard work, to the point that I actually gave up.
So we created the book, I Will Always Be Me, a new way to bank your voice. We worked with a New York Times best-selling author to create a story that gives people the words to express what they're going through.
People can tell their families that everything's changing, but I will always be me.
The way the book's been written means that all the different combinations of sounds are all in there. Everything we would need to synthesize a voice is contained within the text of the story.
Everything is changing.
My voice sounds a little different.
Sometimes I will even need help with the very same things that I used to help you with.
Everything is changing, but I'll always be me. And I will always love you.
So as you can see, it's such a beautiful ad, right? This campaign, this is what marketing can do. Great technology, great product. It went on to increase 50% more voices being banked, and it hit about 1.7 billion impressions on just this campaign. There are other examples. I love this. I think we're going to run out of time. We could do a ton of these examples, but I just want to tell you that personalization can be done. It can be done at scale. It can be done to personalize an experience, and it can also be done for tech for good. So if you have time, go click the World Cup delivery ad, Pai Pedidiosa, or also everyone's very familiar with a lot of work that Cadbury does. So if personalization has already been happening, then why this buzz now, right? For me, the takeaway today is language no bar. This graph that you see behind, I think you could go and read up a little. It's written by Mike Rosser. The focus today is that there is a perfect storm. Great silicon processing, software algorithms, and talent learning. The ease of which you can train models today with the speed of processing, with the algorithms keeping pace, has what has defined this rapid pace. Today, text, image recognition have reached the same as human level, and therefore you can communicate in everyday language with a machine, and that's why you can see it. At the heart of it is silicon powering all this, and a good amount of the silicon is powered, 40% of that is through AI, exactly where Intel is. A lot of conversation around this is good, this is bad. You know, Narayan talked about it, many of the panelists talked about it, And I do resonate with this whole concept of dual cities, right? You do see excitement, you do see uncertainty, and you see a lot of data saying exactly that. On one side, you can see a ton of data talking about how efficiency, productivity, creativity will get boosted. On the other side, you do see numbers from a Deloitte report, that's their headline, on how agility, keeping pace, bias, for instance, right? Fear of how the data will get used. So these are real issues. In a survey across 2,800 leaders across the globe that Deloitte did, there are leaders that are really excited about embracing AI, and those leaders believe that they have AI expertise. Leaders that are excited and want to embrace AI are going to make changes faster in their organization. There are a set of leaders that feel pressured, they feel threatened, right? And maybe because they don't feel equipped, maybe they want to take fewer steps, they will probably implement AI much slowly. Both good, both will learn at their own time, but what we need to keep in mind, as you heard from many folks, is that there is going to be a need for experimentation, for embracing it, for productivity, but there's also going to be a need for keeping open AI, transparency, explainability, thinking about biases, and regulation needs to go at the same pace as a product innovation at this time. But because it's an emerging space, no one size fits all. And to me, that is good news, right? We're all going to learn together. And so when we think of it, or when I think of it of ABCs of personalization, right? A is the audience. A lot of us talked about the audience, right? Some of you may want to look at, hey, if I want to take baby steps, maybe my audience today is the tech press, right? How do I talk to the tech press? How can I understand insights about the tech press and personalize my messaging, my delivery for them? Some of it can be a cultural community, right? So keep that messaging and cultural community in mind. So what you need to keep in mind is eventually, yes, there's a lot of data hitting you. Who is the audience you want to talk to and take baby steps to learn and to serve data, imagery, messaging, customer life stage, all of that gets so much easier with the amount of predictive analytics that we have today. Beginner mindset. The B of ABCs, I believe whatever position you are on AI, you have no option. You have to learn, right? So one point of this is go back, experiment, learn, do use cases, some of it small, some of it broad, but that's the only way you're going to know where the path is going to take you. So beginner mindset, very critical, whether it's for you, whether it's your employees, whether it's reskilling, whether it's talent. Equip your team, equip your employees, equip yourself to know what's out there. C, I talk about capabilities in every forum that I go to. More than ever today, we need well-orchestrated capabilities, and more than ever, we need to invest in those capabilities. You had our agency partners right here saying a lot of off-the-shelf capabilities today have AI plugins, which is good. Not only do you want to learn about the capabilities that exist, but you also want to sit with your agency partners and say, hey, you know what, how are we going to do this? Build a lot of transparency, build a lot of collaboration within teams for your capabilities to work for you. And lastly, security. We've talked about privacy, we've talked about data. Data is being used at a very accelerated pace. So please invest. For instance, a lot of our processes are built on security features that enable this. I'm going to rush through a few examples, just like I did in the beginning, for what now, right? From an Intel perspective, Intel AI Everywhere, I'm privileged to be able to talk about AI infusing every aspect of what we do. We just launched the AI PC. It's powered by the Core Ultra processor. We also have Xeon, which has AI built in. Now, what's special about this? The AI PC today can help you inference on the edge, text, image, recognition, abilities right in your hands. And we've got 100 ISVs enabled today on this. And for creators, for visualizers, great product to own. The second part, which we do beautifully, is working with our ecosystem, right? Working with our customer, with products infused with AI for tech for good. And I'll talk about a couple of examples. And lastly, you heard a ton of examples of brand experiences. I'll show you a couple of examples of how we use media and creative in-house, working with our partners right here, Dentsu, to take those experiences out to our consumers. These are just a sample of some of the examples, and I've deliberately focused on bringing to you a combination of examples here, 2 which are tech for good and 2 which are relevant to our sphere. So on one side, if you can look at it, this is our association with Siemens. When you look at organ scans today, because of the high computing possible today, we are able to reduce the time taken of image scanning to less than 200 milliseconds, something that would have taken much more today. Imagine what this does for healthcare. You can make a lot of decisions quickly, life-saving decisions quickly. The one which is in the middle, Netra.ai, is an example right here in India. We have an association and partnership with Shankara Eye Foundation. Along with our Intel processors, this allows you to predict loss of vision through diabetic retinopathy, right? So you can prevent loss of vision through this. And at the right, because we've talked about recommendation engine, I thought that would be a great example to bring in. We have an association with Taboola. Again, allows us to crunch billions of recommendation, allowing us to serve fantastic patterns and choices that are real-time and customized just for you. Right in between, because somebody in the audience also talked about the future of AI, these are examples that talk about how it mind reads sentiment and is able to enhance your game and your entertainment, which is a partnership that we have with Numenta in a game called Proxy. So if you look at it, there are tons of examples where AI is driving large-scale impact, societal impact, but at the same time, changing and delivering experiences at large. I'm going to end with, I thought, given the conference, and we have a ton of folks that would want to look at examples that are being used daily. I want to talk about some of the media and creative work that we do with our partners and some in-house as well. These left to right are optimizing CX. We have a digital hub in India, in Singapore. Many of you, raise your hands, probably look at influencer marketing as a key part of your advertising strategy. Right here, think of it. If a reviewer did an unboxing video for you, it would take you 2 to 10 minutes. Multiply that into about 100 influencers. Multiply that into about 10 to 12 geographies that I handle. If I look at it, I have to crunch multiple influencer videos and try to understand what does that mean, right? So what we do in-house is that we look at a YouTube plugin with ChatGPT, looks at all these videos, including languages, and summarizes it in less than 10 minutes. So you're able to not only summarize it, and you get the key points via ChatGPT with the YouTube plugin. It helps me understand cultural nuances, something happening in Japan, sentiment, and all of this today, saving us time to implement work with our agency, saying this is working, this is not working. The middle one, TalkWorker, popular listening tool, many of you already using it. This is a plugin, it's called Conversation Cluster. Again, this Conversation Cluster is an add-on to our listening tool, and it improves sentiment analysis. Earlier, when we used to use our tools, we would get about, say, 40% improvement. This has helped increase the improvements to 70%. So while AI is making inroads, know that you still need to have augmented human intelligence to look at some of those patterns, right? And we're still getting there. The right example, the last one, is creative rendition, something we did just a quarter before with Dentsu. We looked at launching our Intel Evo product. We put in a few keywords. It generated a design through generative AI. And then what we did is we overlaid it with our brand guidelines. We said, hey, we want to do this, but we want to do it illustration style. So I've just given you a preview of a before, after. And these are tons of things that we're already using. And that's why I enforced the need for adding capabilities to enhance your experience as you work with your agencies, and a ton of other things. We do browse AI, et cetera, and maybe we can talk about it. in the coffee break or when we're networking. Yeah? So if you look at all the three, I gave you examples of where Intel infuses AI as the product, infuses AI working with our customers for tech for good, and lastly, enhancing the customer experience through media and creative renditions. My last slide. You saw a lot of focus around what technology is going to do. Is it pessimistic? Is it realistic? But at the end of it, technology, as my CEO says, is not good or bad. It's neutral, right? What we do with it matters. So while I would say we're embracing AI at a rapid pace, I would say experiment, learn, skill your folks. At the same time, keep in mind the fact that over time, technology can have great impact, keeping in mind that we want to have open AI, open ecosystems. You want to have explainable AI. You want to think about biases. You want to keep in mind regulations. But at the end of it, technology done right is magic. Thank you.